let's go over to the Capcom leaks. You guys, I dropped the games and releases for the years and stuff into the Discord there for you, just in case you don't have it in front of you. But these all came out after we had a hacking group hold some of Capcom's information for ransom, and then they decided to just leak it online because Capcom said no, they're not paying out what was, I think, $11 million.
$11 million in Bitcoin. They refused to pay.
Yes, because they want to be tracked. They'll give us Bitcoin, we're out. And apparently they've leaked 60 gigabytes worth of information. They still have allegedly another 940 gigabytes. They apparently stole a terabyte of info.
That's crazy, man.
Yes, and part of that, the amount of the things that they released appears to be Capcom's entire release schedule over the next 4 years. 3 years, I guess. Yeah, 3.5 years. Which is, it's quite a bit because we have starting from fiscal year 21, Resident Evil Outbreak, Dragon's Dogma 2, Street Fighter 6, Rockman Match. I mean, I was hoping to see Mega Man X9 as Rockman. You know what? That could be a code name for Mega Man, like a game. Anyway,
what if it's just Mega Man Soccer?
It's probably like, watch it just be
Battle Royale Mega Man.
A cell phone game. Resident Evil 4 Remake. They have that for fiscal year 2022. That's about right, though, from what we were hearing from rumors. Q4. Monster Hunter 6, Biohazard Apocalypse, Super Street Fighter 6, Final Fight Remake, Power Stone Remake, Ultra Street Fighter 6, and then Resident Evil Hank. They say likely Hunk, but Resident Evil Hank. That's probably, again, another code name. That is all the way out fiscal year 2024, Q4. So this goes out a long ways here. It appears to be what they're mostly planning overall. But the big one people pointed out was Power Stone Remake and Final Fight Remake, and then the fact that they have all of these Street Fighters already planned.
That was like fanboyism right there. Like those two games, I mean, I love Final Fight. Don't get me wrong. I have an arcade board, so I love that game a lot. But come on, I mean, does that sound real to you guys? It doesn't sound real to me.
Okay, so I wondered if the hackers were like, yo, let's just mess with some people right now. let's just start putting some games there. Power Stone, that'd be funny. Let's do that. Let's put that in there. I was wondering if they just threw some stuff in there just to do it. I don't know.
Nate, I would.
Yeah. Nate, you seem sold on.
99% real, one's fake.
Nate, you're expecting that Power Stone remake that's coming out in 4 years, apparently?
Yeah. No, I mean, it could get delayed. Now it could get canceled. I mean, if it's 4 years out, it's very early in planning.
Yeah, this is like them writing it down on a whiteboard.
Yeah, they don't even have like wireframes of characters yet. It's just, let's make a Power Stone game. Okay.
I think that's the dangerous part about this list. Some of the stuff on here probably just won't happen because they're just like, it's nice that they're thinking of Power Stone because we keep talking about it. We're like, hey, it'd be cool if they did Power Stone. And at some point they wrote it down somewhere.
Like even the Final Fight, everything for fiscal year 24 is just in the idea of, we've greenlit the idea because we might have had a prototype, but this can enter development in come 2022. They might look at it and say, you know, it's not coming together, cancel it. So we're actually looking at a blueprint of what they hope to achieve, not necessarily what is to come.
Yeah, I think everything from 2022 and before, like fiscal year, is more set in stone almost. I mean, although they do like Biohazard Apocalypse, they're doing Resident Evil every other year basically almost.
Like the stuff also in the other leaks, like we had a new Onimusha that I believe comes out before fiscal year 2022. Or we have what was Project Guillotine, which is a new Ghosts and Goblins, which is supposed to come out to Switch next February. That's stuff that's way too far, along for them to just say, oops, didn't work, canceled.
Monster Hunter 6, though, will be pretty big. That's obvious. Like, they're going to do that. It's interesting because I assume that means that Monster Hunter World will run all the way to fiscal year 23 then, because they don't have any other mention of Monster Hunter before that. Maybe more DLC or something for World. But
I think World DLC is done. But the way, if you look at their releases of the Monster Hunter, you had World, you had the DLC. A year later, you have Rise. And then we know the PC version of Rise comes out late next year. And then it'll probably get some sort of DLC expansion or a Rise G version. And then 2023, you'll get Monster Hunter 6. So it seems they always kind of pace it that way.
Monster Hunter World runs really well on the PS5 and the Xbox Series X as well now. So like maybe they do something with a patch to go even a little further with it, because it's just 60 frames per second now on the platforms, PS5 now, so and Xbox. So who knows? Maybe they just continue on with that. But you did say Monster Hunter Rise going to PC. That appears to be at the end of this year. And
Next year.
Next year. Okay, that's gonna be next year. That'll go to PC. You know, that actually might have cross save with the Switch, by the way.
Can you talk a little bit more, Nate? You said it's a Ghosts and Goblins game.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yes,
not a remake or a new one.
I'm not sure if it's a remake or a new one. I believe it's using the RE engine.
Wait, is this new? This is new info?
I believe it leaked in one of the slides. I believe it had came out a few days after the initial slides come out, but I believe the new Ghosts and Goblins.
Interesting. Okay.
I'm not sure if it's a remake of the first one and modern, but it's supposed to be using the RE engine. It's a timed exclusive for Switch for, I think, 3 months, and then it'll come to other platforms. So it should release early next year. I guess it's just a question of when does Capcom announce it.
I didn't hear anything about that. Wow, okay. Interesting. I mean, they'd have to announce it soon then. Oh,
Yeah.
What about the Game Awards?
What about January Direct?
What about January?
Let's not start talking about
What about
January
December
Direct.
Direct?
Let's
What about
start
December
talking
Direct?
about directs again because we haven't for a long time.
Thanksgiving
We
Direct?
just had a partner one a few weeks ago.
Thanksgiving Direct.
General,
Be
baby,
thankful.
general.
We ain't getting a general in 2020.
There you go. Okay, it's January. That's interesting. I didn't hear about
It's
that.
January 2021.
I don't know, Nate. You telling us things you're not supposed to now all of a sudden? I don't know. I didn't hear anything about
I'm
that.
pretty sure the Ghost and Goblin thing is public. If it isn't,
Double check
then-
that. Pretty sure.
if it's not public, then I screwed up. But
Okay.
I think it's public. I hope it is. If not, I definitely made a mistake, and we'll have to cut this part out of the episode.
I'll double
You know
check
this
your
is
work.
live, but like,
It's
okay, never
live,
mind.
Nate.
Live TV can be edited.
No,
What?
it can't.
Yes, it can.
What
We
kind of
edited
live-
last week's
what kind of
episode because
budget
it kept
do you think we're running
breaking.
right here. I'm in front of a green screen. It doesn't even work right now.
Evan is a very advanced AI. He can do anything.
Yeah, you know what? Well,
Don't you malfunction.
All right, so we'll finish up with this the Capcom leak. All right, because you brought this up, Nate, in your podcast. Nate the Hate, by the way, podcast.
Yes, MVG.
They were
I brought
missing.
it up.
They're missing something from these leaks.
There is.
What are they missing, Nate?
There's no mention of a Switch Pro.
There's no mention of a Switch Pro here.
No mention of intent to release on new Nintendo hardware at all in these leaks. And these leaks talked about plans for the Xbox Series X and the PlayStation 5. Some of these documents date back to I believe it was 2018. And there's no mention of any new hardware from Nintendo, which leads to two potential conclusions. One, there is nothing next year. Or two, and this is the more likely scenario, they simply haven't been briefed about it yet, which means the hardware is likely not that big of a boost because developers weren't briefed about a Switch Lite until I believe it was only about 8 weeks before it released.
But my question is, would they really need to know about it if it's similar to how we're seeing with like Sony with the PlayStation 5 or Microsoft their Series X, where it's designed to already run those games just better, and there's minimal work needing to be done by the developers?
It would depend on the game. If we want to use Monster Hunter Rise as the example, you'd want to at least inform them of maybe leaving the game uncapped in frame rate because the Switch Pro would be able to then boost it up to 60. You don't want to cap it at 30 because you're targeting the native Switch hardware of today. So you'd want to brief them out at least on that, or even just intentions of, we do have a revision next year. Keep that in the back of your minds if you're making new software. We'll brief you on it in the future. They don't need to be briefed this far out. It depends really when the hardware would release. If it's coming out, as some people have speculated, in Q1 of Nintendo's fiscal year, so that would be April to June, you probably have to brief them by maybe GDC, so we'd say early March. If it's September, you can wait till June.
Okay.
But it would really depend. Like if you are coming out with hardware with, some other YouTube channels have speculated it's basically a next gen successor, they would have known by now. And Capcom came out last month, or I believe maybe September, when they announced Monster Hunter Rise, and they were asked about a Pro, and they said, we're not aware of any new hardware from Nintendo.
They did.
This is a case. This would prove that they're not lying about that. They truly do not know.
They might not need to. So that's what I'm going with right now. Is it's not going to be this crazy thing that they have to develop specifically for to take advantage of, and the games will just kind of move over.
Yeah, it could just be as simple as here's new hardware. You just need to have this new development profile. We can update your dev kits in the future. it could be that simple. But if anyone's expecting some sort of, Switch that's all of a sudden running PlayStation 4 Pro tier games, you got to scale that shit.
I will say
back
after getting these the PS5 and the Series X, I'm really looking forward to new hardware from Nintendo in so many years from now, two years from now.
The next gen successor is definitely something to be excited about, because NVIDIA could easily provide performance probably similar to a PlayStation 4 Pro in a Switch form factor.
See, I'd be all right with that. Yeah.
If you can get something like that, add in some DLSS, you could have
handheld.
a hell of a
crazy
handheld. Yeah, you could have a handheld that's wow.
Yeah,
but
I'm good with that.
we're probably 3 years away from that.
Yeah.